Hello, and welcome to the Music Teacher Coffee Talk podcast. I'm Carrie.
And I'm Tanya. We are both elementary music teachers who love to talk shop, preferably over a steaming cup of coffee. This is episode 149. Today, we are talking about our New Year's intentions for the school year and for our year in general.
And in our CODA section, we'll give some specific recommendations of our favorite things we are enjoying in and out of the music room. So grab your beverage of choice and let's get started.
And it's time for our main theme, all about intentions for the new year. You might have noticed that we did not mention our other segments. We are officially back to school tomorrow. We just wanted a episode for the new year that talks about our intentions for the official new year. Although, I always think of August is more of a new year in my
Exactly.
mind. But, of course, the calendar turned over. We've got a new year going on, and we've been jokingly calling this the New Year, Same You edition because we want to make sure we keep things realistic, positive, and we understand the conundrum that goes along with New Year's resolutions. And yeah, and we have some different opinions about that. So, Carrie, I know
Yeah.
you've got some strong feelings.
Surprise, surprise. As to you, Tanya.
Yes.
I asked my husband this morning just for a little crowdsourcing, like, what do you think about New Year's resolutions? And he's like, oh, I hate it. So he and we are very much in agreements of, and it's really the word. And he brought up the fact that like resolution feels final. Like think about resolving something, like in the terms of like musically, having a resolving a chord. Um, but he was saying that to him it's like, and this is kind of my difficulty with the word resolution. It's like it's too firm, it's too finite, and I understand that's not how everyone thinks of it. That's how I think of it. So to me, resolutions tend to invoke this idea of like rigidity, like you have to do these things, and if you don't do these things you fail. And there's all sorts of research about how many people make New Year's resolutions and how very few of them actually feel like they succeed at them. And then that brings up, feelings of inadequacy and failure. And, I don't know for everyone if it's the right way to go into a new year. So for me, I really prefer the word intentions over resolutions. And then, thinking about what works for you and like your inner circle, like your family, your friends, the people that you're around, what's going to do good for you. I think about kind of these pressures society puts on us, like if you go to Target or if you go to Costco, like what are the featured products that we're seeing right now in like the seasonal sections of the stores? There are things about health and wellness, there's things about home organization, and these are all great things. But if you're doing these things and setting these resolutions just because Target's telling you to, explicitly or implicitly, like, I just think we all need to really reevaluate why we set resolutions and how we set resolutions, and then just find a system that works for you. Like if you're a list person, great. If you're a due date person, great. If you want to keep things more open ended, like I do, I think for me that works. But I don't know. What are your thoughts, Tanya?
I have strong thoughts, of course. I love a clean slate. I love a resolution. And I mean, it's really up to you as an individual on how you think about a resolution. Because I don't find the idea of a resolution as super rigid. I find it as I mean, it's an opportunity. It's a clean slate. I love a list. I love, it's a fresh start. I love this idea of, um, all right, I've got this plan. I want to see something in action. I want to like visualize what that looks like. What are the steps to get there? I like a plan and I feel so much more likely to follow through on something if I'm writing it down. And honestly, if I'm accountable to somebody else, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
Um, and if I don't write things down, think things through, if I don't take the time to like really aim myself towards something, then it just does not happen because, life happens and it's always a situation. Well, we could really talk about like being in the classroom. Like my planning time every day at school is the first thing in the morning, and I really don't like it. I know a lot of people love first thing in the morning planning time. I hate it. Here's why. I will spend that time no matter what, no matter how prepared I am for the rest of the classes, or for the day. I will spend that time tweaking and rehashing what's going to happen on that day. And I won't do any longer range planning. And I feel like it's just because, well, that's going to happen in the next 45 minutes, right? Second grade's coming in 45 minutes. But whether or not I add more quality multicultural songs, that could happen at any time. And as I know, I'm a big Gretchen Rubin fan. If you don't listen to her podcast and you're into this, that she has a saying of what could happen anytime happens no time, right? And I'm very much a victim of that. If I just have this pie in the sky thought of like, you know, I'm going to do this thing, but it doesn't have to happen right now, it could happen anytime. If I don't make a plan, if I don't like, you know, narrow in, well, when is it going to happen, Tanya? Oh, it's going to happen in this month. And when's the time in this month? I've got to do that, because if I don't, I'm just going by a day to day, hour to hour, minute to minute life, right?
Yeah.
Because life has demands, things that are going to happen today, this morning, that's more important than what's going to happen, you know, in 5 months, in 5 years. And so I really love writing things down and having a plan. And I understand that resolutions are a thing and that a lot of people drop by February. I think it depends on how you view a resolution.
Yeah.
And, if you're going to be really stringent about it and like, okay, I'm going to work out for 4 times a week and that's going to happen. And then, that can be a lot to put on yourself if you're putting also other expectations like I'm going to join a book group and I'm going to read more and I'm going to work out and you can pile on and really just make it not fun. And
Yeah.
since we are you're the boss of you, I want my things that I'm thinking about to be enjoyable. Like I
Hmm.
don't want them to be punitive and I
Exactly.
don't want it to be a negative thing. And I don't want to feel like in March, oh, I didn't do that thing and now I feel bad about myself. I don't want to beat myself up. I beat myself up about so many things anyway. I don't
We
need
all do.
that as well. Yeah. So I like to look at it as like writing down an action plan and, making a plan for things I want in my life that are like more enjoyable. And teaching, I mean, I love to teach music. So that is overall an enjoyable thing. So I'm not going to be writing down like, I don't know. I'm going to be writing down things that I'm going to look forward to doing. And if I set up a first do this, then do this, then do this, and do this on February 10th when you have that PD day, like if I do that, it's going to happen. It's more
Yeah.
likely to happen than if I just say, oh, I have this idea of what I want to try with third grade. And, it could happen anytime.
Right.
I
And
want
I
to
think
make a
all of
plan.
this just depends on different seasons of life and seasons of your career. So, like, when I think about my career now in year 23 of teaching, I'm not going to make a resolution this year to go get Kodai training, like, or do something drastic. Like, I already
Sure.
kind of know what works in my head, but I might make a resolution to make sure I attend one or workshop this year because that's something that's different and will help me grow as an educator. Where younger in my career, I might have made bigger, bolder resolutions or intentions as far as like completing my master's, getting major training, those kind of things, and same it at home. Like I kind of know we're kind of in this season of life where my kids are preteen, teenager, and we know what's working for us as a family right now. We know what minor tweaks we want to make, but we're not like in this burn it all down and start over stage of life right now because that's too much. That would be overwhelming to me. So it's like, it also depends on your stage of life and family and career and what's happening around you. As far as, for me, my intentions this year are very much like what do I want to keep doing and what do I want to tweak, not like major, not to say that I can't make change. We all can make change and better ourselves. But if I know at this point in my life, if I go too big, it's just not going to happen because I don't have time right now to make giant commitments to myself of things that are going to be drastically different. So, that's something to keep in mind too.
Well, of course. Yeah. I mean, drastic changes that happens when you have a need and you have the time and all of that. And also all of this to say that New Year's is arbitrary. Like
Yeah,
if I were to wake up on, February 10th and go, ooh, now's the time for this thing that I really want in life. I'm not going to wait a year.
right.
It can
And as you
happen at
said,
any
as
time.
teachers, like this to me is not new year. It's like a reset and just kind of check in with myself but not like major things because anything that I would want to do major professionally, I would do it over the summer. So I'm not going to do it now. I don't have time. Kids start tomorrow. So yeah.
Exactly.
So, anyways, it's kind of a happy medium maybe between Tanya and I's views on resolutions and intentions. We're gonna do a list. We're gonna each do four for 2024, not 24 for 2024, but four for
Oh, I'm
2024.
I'm doing that, but
I know,
not
but see, this is
with
what
you.
I thought about. I was like, I know Tanya loves these 20 for 2020, 20, and that is not me. That is too much. That is too big. And I know even the things that you can put on those lists are small, but still, writing that list seems daunting and not fun. So, my happy medium with you, Tanya, is we do four for 2024. Are you cool with that?
I am cool with that. I have a little. I was looking for this quote. So if you saw my face light up from the brightness of my iPhone, I apologize because I was finding this quote that I dig. Tim Ferriss, who I have mixed feelings about, but he's a productivity guy. He's got a podcast and lots of books, and in the Atomic Habits. He didn't write Atomic Habits, but he's in that whole realm of dudes who are productivity dudes, which I can get sucked in. I'm a sucker for that kind of stuff. But,
Okay.
some of it is just way forgotten. Anyway, here's a quote from Tim Ferriss. Life punishes the vague wish and rewards the specific ask.
Mm,
And I feel like I resonate with that big
okay.
time because I have a lot of vague wishes. I'll be in the shower because it's always in the shower
Oh
that
yeah.
I'm like, wow, what a great idea I have. I'm gonna change the world. I'm gonna do this thing. Yeah, I'm gonna change music education when I do X, Y, and Z. And then like 20 minutes later, you know, well, that's never happening.
Yeah. Time to
I
make
don't even
coffee.
remember what happened. Like,
Yeah.
exactly, I'm making coffee. That's the yeah.
Let's do
Immediate
that.
need. Make the coffee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So two for home, two for school, though sometimes they kind of overlap. And maybe we'll just like ping pong back and
We
forth.
could go
So
back and forth.
yeah.
Yeah.
So what do you want to
Do you
talk
want a
about? You want to
school first?
Yeah, let's do school first, maybe.
Let's do school first.
Okay. You want me to go?
Okay, you go.
Okay. I mean, mine is this is like a keep. This is something that I set an intention of at the beginning of this school year, and I'm going to keep doing it, which is to not stress and get myself tied up in knots, but what I'm not going to get to this year curriculum wise. And the reason for this, if you've heard me talk about it, is I'm seeing my second grade through fifth grade students, I'm seeing them slightly less this year because we are a big school and due to many circumstances, we had to add a fourth special, I'm saying that in quotations, to our rotation. So I see my kids a fourth of the time less. And that was kind of out of my wheel of control. And rather than being extremely stressed about what I'm not going to be able to do, what I'm doing is being really intentional about what I can do, really careful, intentional planning. And kind of related to that, the one positive thing of this, you talked about like short-term planning versus long-term planning earlier, because I'm not writing my daily plans as often, because I will write a lesson plan and I will now get to teach it 4 times instead of 3 times, right? So that does give me time back in my planning that I can focus more on long-term planning. So because of that, I feel like I've not had to plan as much at home this year, and I've gotten most of my planning done at school, which feels really good. So, this is not like an intention as far as like I'm changing anything. This is really more of a just keep on keeping on, especially in the second half of the year, because those feelings of, oh my gosh, I'm not going to get to this such and such concept by the end of the year. I'm not going to get to law in first grade. There's just no way. It's not going to happen. That's okay. I will be very intentional about my planning next year to make sure that happens quickly in second grade and move on, and to not get myself tied up in knots about it. So that is an intention for school that also trickles to home, which I like it when they
Okay,
work
can I
that.
push you on this one,
Yes.
please? Uh, so you talked about two things, not stress
Yes.
and being intentional in the planning.
Yes.
You explained like the being intentional on the planning side. How are you tackling the not stress side?
I just tell myself it's okay. Like I just remind, I mean, I know that sounds really cheesy, but when I start to have those feelings of like, oh my gosh, what if I don't get to such and such concept? Here's what I remind myself. I remind myself what it felt like in spring of 2020 and pretty much all of the 2020 2021 school year, and how we really had to let go of those expectations that if we don't get to certain concepts in a school year, we're failures as music educators. That's kind of how I would feel. Like I would put so much pressure on myself that if we get quote unquote behind, that's a problem. But if the pandemic taught us anything, and taught us many things, as educators, it taught us that there is no such thing as behind. It's just where you are now and where you want to keep going. So I just kind of just have to like talk myself off the ledge a little bit and remind myself that it's gonna be okay. That in the grand scheme of things, what's most important is that my students are coming to music, we're singing, we're playing, we're dancing, we're enjoying musical time together, and that me stressing about what concepts we get to is not going to serve them and it's not going to serve me. So it's really just having that reminder to myself. I don't have any like specific action steps that I'm doing here other than
Well, you
just
do.
telling
You just said
myself,
you were going to self talk. You
yeah,
That's an action step.
yeah, that's an action step. Sure. It's a
Yeah.
little woo woo of an action step for me, Tanya, but I can handle it. Yes.
What? That's woo woo? Oh
A little
man.
bit, a little bit. So there you go. That's my number one for school. You want to share one for school?
Yes, I would like to add to my song collection one multicultural song per grade level that I haven't done with kids before because, you know, it's not like it's not there. There's not music out there. There are songs out there. I've been to sessions. I have volumes, books of these songs. I need to now like take the next step and use them in the music room because they need to become part of my vocabulary. Because I shy away, because like everybody, I don't want to mingle the language. I want to make sure I'm representing the culture correctly. I don't want to I want to make sure that I am not misstepping or any of that. So it probably will be a summertime project, but maybe in the spring. But I was doing some long range planning yesterday, and wow, things are happening quickly. Like as I look at the rest of the year, I'm like, and then we're done.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I can't promise that it'll happen during this school year, um, during the rest of the school year, but I really would like to just really make one song per grade level. Like this song is in Japanese and I'm comfortable with singing it. I don't have to look at it. I know exactly what kind of activity or extension or whatever we're doing with it. This is perfect for second grade. Like I need to just get that going because um, they need more culture. They need more cultures from places that they are not aware of, and you know, music. We should be bringing in understanding of other peoples and cultures. So I need to do that.
100%. Yeah, I mean, that's an example of me I set an unrealistic goal for myself at one point in time where I wanted to make sure I had something that was multicultural, meaning not of my students' culture in every concept. So, like in a concept plan, if you think of a Coda inspired concept plan, here's my Ta TT repertoire. I want at least one song in there that's not in English and not of a culture that my students are super familiar with. And then that was too big of a goal and I didn't get there. So I like what you're saying about one per grade level. I know like we always want to do more with that, but I think it's hard for us as adults to learn new song literature, to learn new languages and get that in our ear. So to be go slow to go fast, right? To make sure that we're like
Right.
being really intentional. I really like that.
But I love that idea of putting it per see, you mentioned that and part of my brain goes, "Ooh, do that." I'm like,
Right,
"No, no, no.
right. And
Stop.
maybe we'll
Stop."
get there eventually, but you
Right.
have to
Like,
pace it.
let's just start with this baby step here. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. All right, so my second one is also I'm still kind of formulating the action plan behind it, but let me back up and say so I am in our district. I am the mentor teacher for all new music teachers to our district. Tanya, you did this for many years, and we have these community of practice meetings every month. And in January, our topic is going to be setting kind of an instructional goal for yourself based on your observation feedback that you got in the first semester from your administrator or your evaluator. So, teaching them to look at their observation feedback, identify one area of growth that they want to kind of create an action plan around, and then try it the second half of the year. So, in modeling this, I looked at my own evaluation feedback, and one area that I decided I wanted to focus on is how I'm giving feedback to my students. I've gotten really good at doing lots of assessing. I do pretty much I have some sort of formative assessment in every single classroom where I'm just looking at where the kids are at with either a skill or a concept and then writing that down for myself, and that helps me plan where to go next. What I'm not good at, and I think this is something a lot of us elementary music teachers struggle with, is how to give that feedback to the students as well, because it's just always time. How do I give good solid feedback to the kids that is, specific and not just, oh, good job, oh, thank you, but like very specific. So I'm still formulating what that looks like and what is realistic. What can I make use of as far as Google Classroom or Seesaw, so I can be typing or recording comments there in a way that's individual and the students can listen to it later. So I'm still formulating exactly what it's going to look like, but that's just kind of an overarching goal I want to focus on the second half of the year, is how to give better feedback to my students. And
Awesome.
once I figure it all out, maybe we'll do a podcast about it, Tanya.
Oh, I can't wait. Yeah. I
See,
want to
this
know
is
how to
no, I
do
can't
that.
promise a goal like that. That's the problem.
Well, well, no, no. I was going to say, if you really put in like some specific steps and you had a goal of by this date, we're going to do a podcast about it, would you follow through over the long haul and be like, no, I'm going to I'm going to formulate it, implement it, see how it goes, reevaluate, then we do a podcast on it?
I
Would
mean,
that
yeah,
be helpful?
yes, I understand the reason for doing that. I would say yes if nothing else got in the way. And this is where I get frustrated, is I if that was my only thing that I was working on and that was my focus, but the realistic lens of this is that there's so much else going on that we have to balance between home and school. And so for me to promise that I can put that much time and attention into this one thing. So this one
Yeah.
thing, while it's important to me, it can't be more important than making sure I get my kids to their rehearsals and making sure that I'm doing my good daily lesson plans. Like those things do still come first. So like to me it's finding that balance between, I don't want to just like create an intention and a goal that I can easily throw away. That's not what it is. But I want to make it realistic that it's still balanced within all the other daily stuff I have to do.
I was just asking if that kind of accountability, I mean, if that is a motivator.
Yes and no. Because my brain just immediately goes towards, well, what if I don't do it? Then I'm going to feel awful about myself, and then that doesn't help. So
Okay.
that's a very negative way of looking
Realistic
at
is
it,
good.
but this is, I'm just being real.
No, no, I understand. Yeah, no, be realistic. That you
Yeah.
have to be realistic about it all.
All right. So I'm still working on formulating exactly what that looks like. But what's your second one, Tanya, for school?
Okay, my second one is still in the vague stages. I want more student directed classroom time. Um, and we've talked about this, and stations is a perfect example of you know what? It's actually not, because it's not student directed per se. It's students doing more individual or small group things, but it is teacher directed. It is teachers saying, and at this station, you're going to do this, and at that station, you're going to do that. I need to get more comfortable with the teachable moment coming from the kids, you know? Um, along these lines, I recently joined AOSA again. And I think the ORF people do a much better job of, I mean, generally, just generally, than us Kodai people, of student directed, feeling comfortable with student directed, student chosen paths. I mean, and that's a very, please understand, this is a very broad statement, not to say all Kodai, hashtag not all Kodai, hashtag not all ORF um, people are this way or that way.
Yeah.
I just think that I could learn a lot um, from the ORF methodology and philosophy about how to have more put on the students of where they're going to take something next. So
Yes.
I would like to
Yeah.
have more student directed time, and I'll take it back for the stations. Stations is a great example of time where kids get more agency in general, but I still don't think it's like completely student directed unless you create stations where it's more open ended.
Right. Or they choose which stations they go to and when.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a big thing. If they choose which stations to go to, then yeah. But you're still giving them a menu, and I mean, and that's fine because it's still. See, I've got to find the balance because I know that there's freedom in structure. You can't just say, "Hey, kids, here's a metallophone. Go to town."
Right.
Like, I mean, beyond the 10 seconds when they first get there, yeah, that's different, right? You need to have some parameters
Yeah.
so that but more student choice, more student directed stuff. And I'm going to be perusing the AOSA video library, and hopefully that will spark some ideas, and I'm just really interested to see that. And if you listener have fantastic ideas in the realm of student directed stuff, I would love to hear it. So
Yeah.
email us at music teacher coffee talk gmail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been thinking about this a lot too in the last couple of days because we had a big training staff wide this last week on empowered classroom, and this is through the Franklin Covey model, the seven
Yeah,
habits of
seven
highly,
habits.
because we're a leader in me school, so we get all of these trainings. And I kind of went into this training like, oh, this is the last thing I want to be doing right now. I just really want to be in my classroom planning. I really need this time. But as any good training leaves you feeling inspired and more energized, this one was definitely good. And it definitely sparked these thoughts exactly of how to have a more student directed classroom. So I'm with you in that conversation, Tanya. So let's keep talking about that.
Yes, let's.
All right, so let's talk more about home. And again, oh my gosh, our stage of home, it may be very different than anyone who is listening. Tanya and I both have older children. I have an 11-year-old and a 14-year-old. And so this first one, again, is something that it's more of a continued thing. This last year, my husband and I kind of had this realization that our kids are old enough to stay home by themselves, cook their own food, put themselves to bed as needed. So we are being intentional in our marriage of embracing this new stage of life because we are not in this stage of life where if we wanted a night just to even go out for dinner, we'd have to pre-plan, hire a babysitter, all that kind of stuff. We're able to be way more spontaneous, which is really nice. So we are being intentional in our marriage of embracing that while it's here. And yes, while we're still very busy and we still have to balance our time with everything going on in our and our kids' lives, we can be way more spontaneous and just, hey, let's just go out for dinner, the two of us, and the kids, we can order them a pizza or they can heat up their own frozen ramen bowls from Costco or whatever the case may be. So, our intention as a married couple is to embrace that stage and enjoy it while it's here
Awesome.
because
Yeah.
that's new for us.
Well, I'll go with my family directed home intention is I want to plan more family time with the four of us. I have a 18-year-old son and a 13-year-old daughter, and I would like to plan more times that we are doing things together because if it's not planned, then everybody's in a separate room.
Yeah.
And while, that's understandable and okay and acceptable, We do need some more family time. We do sit down as a family for meals. Uh, Sometimes we watch a show together, and that I think counts as family time if
Oh,
we
heck yeah.
can. Yeah, we just finished a series as a family, and that was really fun because we got to talk about it. And, um, you know,
I mean, that's huge because I cannot get, I mean, the four of us to agree on the same thing to watch. So even having a show that the four of you are all interested in, that's got to work age wise and interest wise, that's huge. So bravo to you.
well, now I need a new one.
Are you
Uh,
willing to share what show it was?
yeah, but people are going to think I'm dark and twisted. I don't care. Um, this was a second watching for me. Severance on Apple Plus
Oh,
because Jude, my son Jude, had expressed interest in it. I think he saw me watching it, when it originally came out like 2 years ago, and they're working on a season two, but there was a writer's strike, and all of that.
yeah,
But anyway, it's kind of dark and intriguing, and about office workers who have a special chip put into their brain so that when they're at work, they forget about their outside of work life, and when they're outside of work, they know nothing about their at work life, and which is like, it's just a fascinating premise, and it's really done well. It is dark,
sure.
but that's kind of our vibe at my house. Is we're gonna go for the you know dark comedy more so than the happy-go-lucky. We're not Disney people. I'm just gonna put it out there. I don't think
Right.
it's a surprise. Um, you know, we're unless it's Tim Burton Disney. Is Tim Burton Disney? Anyway. Yeah, we're a little more dark. So yeah, now I need a new show. I really wanted to try to get everyone to watch Ted Lasso, but I think my kids are thinking it's too sunny, which is funny, but whatever.
That's funny.
We'll try again. Yeah, so I need a new series, but yeah, more intentional family time. We do love to play board games. I want to play more cards with my kids, but they're not exactly into that. Uh, just baby steps.
We had a monumental thing happened. What night was it? 2 nights ago. My husband and I are big into euchre, the card game euchre, because we're from the
I know.
Midwest and it's
I've
so
played it
Midwestern.
with you.
I
Yes.
know we've tried to teach many couple friends, and you guys were okay with it. Another couple friend of ours, they hated it because it's like it's hard to keep track of what's what. Anyways, my husband's like, we're gonna teach the kids euchre. I'm like, I don't know if they're ready for it. We had so much fun playing euchre because it's a four-person
Oh,
card game, so it worked out perfectly, and my kids really enjoyed it. So I see lots of euchre in our future.
oh, well, we'll
We're
come over and play
embracing
euchre anytime.
yeah,
You
we're
know,
embracing our Midwestern side, which is fun.
I we did a lot of hearts over the break, which is like euchre, very similar.
Exactly. Yeah, our
Yeah,
kids love hearts, so we figured this was the next step, just a twist. So
exactly.
fun.
Okay.
All
What's
right.
your other home
So my last one,
intention?
I mean, this is one that I would be on my list every single year. I am maybe this is the one thing that I might like actually make like an action step for, and it's reading. I when I sit and I read, I have a lovely reading chair in my room given to me from you, Tanya, passed down to me. It is so comfy and is so cozy, and our master bedroom is really lovely. I've really tried to make that be like a when it's there's not dirty clothes all over the floor. When it's picked up, it's a really beautiful space. I love our master bedroom. I love my reading chair, and so once I finally have time and prioritize sitting and reading, I love it. I love to read. It's the getting myself into the chair, and it's so I'm thinking I might be that person that like schedules reading time on my calendar because it's like
Why
if I
not?
don't,
Of
I know,
course.
but for me that's big. If I don't do it, it doesn't happen because I'll get distracted by scrolling on my phone or oh hey, what are the kids doing, let's play a game together, which is lovely too, but I want to prioritize my reading time as being something that's more sacred. I also need to get better about doing that at night instead of being on my phone at night. So I'm going to move my phone charger away from my bed because if I plug in my phone for the night away from my bed and put a book on my nightstand instead, that's a good step, right? I did that last year this time and I had a few good months of reading instead of scrolling, and then I caved and moved my phone charger, and then it all went to hell after that. So I want to get better about that. So I'm setting that intention, and that is one that I'll maybe have a more. I'm not going to promise how many books I'm going to read. I'm not going to be that person. I know that works for some people. It's not going to work for me because I'm also just a slow reader. So I don't want to get down on myself about that. But yeah, that's that. I also don't want to put myself in a position of I'm going to finish a book that I don't like, where I feel like
Oh,
if I had, so to me it's about the time reading, not about how many books I'm going to read.
yeah.
That's where I'm at.
I am a big DNFer and I'm thrilled with that. Like do not finish her. If I read a book, if I start reading a book and I get into it and I notice that I don't want to read because I'm not enjoying the book, it's gone because life's too short. There's a lot of good books out there that are great reads for me
Yeah,
that I need to find them. I'm on a struggle bus with reading right now because I keep not finding good. Like this whole past year, I read 34 books and that not a single 4-star read or 5-star read. Like they were all 3-star and below. Um, I don't know. Maybe I just not need to not be so picky. I don't know how to do that, but I am struggling finding books that I really like. And yeah, I have no problem with starting a book if it's not working, if it stops my reading, if I notice that oh it's been 3 days and I haven't like made myself read because it feels like drudgery, like I don't want to do it, then I just can't read that book.
yeah,
And
I
there's no
agree.
problem with that.
I'm really bad at that because I feel like I have to finish it. I mean, part of it's curiosity, like, will I get better? Like that's part of it. And then
Well, yeah.
the other part of it is like, yeah, it feels weird to not finish something. So I need to get okay with that. In my brain, I hear what you're saying and I am okay with that, but I just need to get better about that. So
Well, if you spend 8 to 12 to 13 whatever hours reading one book and it's not something that you enjoy,
what a
that's
waste.
hours you're never getting back
I
that
know.
you spent on that book.
Yeah.
And it makes me more angry when I get to the end. Especially there's been a couple of reads where I'll read the whole thing and it's engaging, and then the last third is just like bleh.
Yeah.
I get angry like with myself, with the book, with the author. I can't with
You're a
that.
waste.
Yeah.
All right. What's your last home one, Tanya?
Okay, well, this is one of those that you don't like because it's like a daily thing. I used to meditate every day in the morning. I had a routine. It was great. I'd get up and brush my teeth and sit down, had a little stool, you know, and I would meditate for like 5 to 10 minutes, sometimes 15. And I have just really gotten away from it, partially because of the phone issue, because my alarm is my phone. So the alarm goes off, and then I get the phone and go, oh, hey, what happened overnight? That kind
Right.
of thing. And then I'm pulled in, it's bad news, and that needs to not be the way that I get up. I don't know. I was thinking of exploring other alarms. I get up before my husband, so I don't want to do anything super loud that'll get him up. And I want to be able to switch it off right away because he deserves to sleep a little bit more too, right? Anyway, I need to get up and I need to just go into another room. And now I have this. I have this room. I have this study. Um, I just need to come in here and just do my 10 minutes of meditation and then on with the day. Like it just
Yeah.
needs to be a non negotiable because I can't explain exactly what. I mean, we have a whole episode where we talk about mindfulness and all of this. But as far as personal meditation, it just lifts away some unnecessary fettering for me, right? And I feel I'm able to remember to be in the moment throughout my entire day when I'm meditating daily because I don't let my emotions control me. I don't spiral into catastrophizing everything. Um, Over this break, while I had a great break, and I counted 5 nights with stress filled school dreams.
Mm.
And that is a bummer when it's like December 23rd. And my dream last night is me being in the classroom and everybody yelling and throwing things and me having no control and turning off lights and nothing is working. Like that's no way to sleep. That's not rejuvenating, you know?
Yeah.
I don't like it and I need to I need to see about that and I know part of it is I need to take time practicing being in the moment. And so I'm not saying that that means that this is a magic pill and then my dreams, my bad stress dreams will go away, but in the past it's done nothing but help me even in the most incremental ways. So I need to get back to daily meditating even if it's just 3 minutes counts, 5 minutes counts. It's fine. I'm not trying to rack up numbers. I just want to take the time every day.
And remind me, was there a specific app or thing that you were using when it was going well for you that you would recommend for people, or do you just kind of have a hodgepodge of things that you've put together on your own?
Well, I'm a big fan of Headspace. I've generally mostly used Headspace. Um, the benefit of Headspace, I think, you know what, I haven't looked into it, but because I have been part of Headspace for a very long time, but they gave me as a teacher, they gave teachers a free membership
Yeah, I
because
used it a lot
otherwise,
during, yeah, with my students
yeah,
and myself. I used it a lot during those years, but I've got away
yes.
from it too. I'm looking up
I
a.
also like 10% Happier, Dan Harris. I enjoy his podcast quite a bit. And he's got some wonderful library of meditations too, but I have not like bought a membership because I've already got Headspace going on. But he does have free meditations on the 10% Happier app. Um, Calm also offers free teacher, or they did at one time. So I've got a membership to Calm, Calm. So that's a good one. But it's interesting because I a lot of times prefer the meditation, guided meditation where not much is said. And Headspace has those too. So Headspace has like courses, like if you want to work on anxiety, here's 30 meditations over 30 days to work on anxiety. But there's also options in there where it's just, we'll tell you when to start
Hmm.
and we'll tell you when it's done. So I like those as well.
Yeah,
Um, because
Headspace is still free for teachers. I just looked it up, so
woo,
yeah, that's
okay.
good.
And boy, all these things I'm mentioning, we are getting no commissions from any of this.
No, no, but we're
But
letting people know what's out there, which is a.
exactly.
So now it's time for our coda section. We're still going to give you a coda because, of course, winter break, we got to enjoy things a little bit. How was your winter break, Tanya? Was it good? Was it relaxing? A little bit?
Yeah, there was a lot of travel. There was a lot of eating. There's a lot of family time. And I wouldn't say it was as relaxing as it needed to be. Hence my stress dreams that I'm really upset about, that I need to get past. But
Yeah,
generally it was good. It was good to see family. It was good to travel. I need more relaxing. So
yeah.
that'll happen what, spring break when we're in Chicago for
Yay!
Oak. Yeah, I'm sure all the relaxing will happen then.
No, I don't know when relaxing happens. Be intentional. Plan your relaxing.
I have a hot tub now, so this is something that I can
Oh,
plan a
I'm so
lot more
jealous of your
often,
hot tub.
is to read in the hot tub. I'm a big fan.
Yes, I have a bathtub that I enjoy that I am in so much. My husband was just teasing me this morning about my water consumption. You mentioned like taking, contemplative showers, and like solving all the world's problems in the shower. So, like, yeah, this morning actually, because I was thinking about our podcast while I was in the shower, and I got out. He's like, I'm gonna have to wait before I shower. There's probably not gonna be enough hot water for me, and I didn't even realize how long I'd been in there. So, yes, hot water, showers, baths, hot tubs, those are all good things. So,
Good things.
okay. Anyways, what's your coda besides being in a hot tub?
Okay, well, I've already mentioned it. I just thought I would stick with the theme. Um, and I know I've mentioned it before. I I tell you what, especially this time of year, Gretchen Rubin's podcast with her sister called Happier. I've been listening to for years, and this is the time of year where she and her sister are talking about like intentions for the year and how to set them. And I just find her extremely inspirational because she is living the life that she wants to live. And she does not apologize for doing things that make her happy. And I'm not saying that like she's neglecting family or job or whatever. Like she really does shine a light on little things and bigger things just to have a happier life in general. And I find it extremely inspirational. And she and her sister also now have a every other week Saturday edition of it, called More Happy, More Happier, More Happy. Anyway, uh, I just find it's helpful because it's very specific on like, well, you could do it this way, you could do it that way, and she's got a lot of helpful tools. That whole idea of the four tendencies of how you get things done, I think, is really revolutionary. About are you getting things done as an obliger like me and you, that will get things done if other people outside of us expect it, but it's hard to get things done if it's all inner expectations. And anyway, she's got lots of frameworks like that I find really really helpful, and I really enjoy her podcast, and I listen to it when it drops on Wednesdays. And yeah, I can't recommend it enough.
Cool.
And you?
All right, well, I'm gonna recommend a show that's not new, and I'm sure you've heard of it, but I finished The Crown over winter break. I had watched the first couple seasons a while back, and then I just kind of took a break and wasn't really super into like seasons 3 and 4. I mean, they were okay. I did watch them, but the last couple seasons were definitely very intriguing to me because obviously this is when I was alive and Princess Diana and all the things that went with that, but then still learned a lot of new things. Have I just recently mentioned? I feel like I've even recently mentioned this, but anyways, I basically binged it over winter break and caught up on the seasons I was behind on, and then finished it up. And I know there were lots of opinions and how the last season ended, but I really enjoyed it, and I was a ball of tears towards the end. But and I'm not someone who really considers myself to be someone who really is all that fascinated with the royal family. That's not something that's really, except for in the 80s, Princess Diana time was obviously very big, but it's not been something that's like high on my priority of knowing what's going on with the royal family, and it's still not. But I thought the show was well done, lots of just fun drama, obviously. It was a good show. I really liked it. So just wanted to say I finished The Crown. Have you finished the whole thing?
No, I watched not even whole seasons. I've watched things here and there, and yeah, maybe I need to try watching it again.
Yeah. I liked the last two seasons. Some of the actor choices were a little interesting, but overall, I thought it was a really good show. So there you go. The Crown. It's on
Awesome.
Netflix.
We've reached the double bar line. Thank you for listening to Music Teacher Coffee Talk. Show notes can be found at musicteachercoffeetalkpodcast.com. You can connect with us on Facebook or Instagram. Just look for Music Teacher Coffee Talk.
If you enjoyed the show, please consider subscribe.
We've reached the double bar line. Thank you for listening to Music Teacher Coffee Talk. Show notes can be found at musicteachercoffeetalkpodcast.com. You can connect with us on Facebook or Instagram. Just look for Music Teacher Coffee Talk.
If you enjoyed this show, please consider subscribing, rating, and leaving us a review on iTunes to help others find this podcast. Also, remember our podcasts are now also on YouTube, so if you enjoy watching while listening, you can check us out at Music Teacher Coffee Talk on YouTube. And we always appreciate folks buying us a coffee, so look for that link on our show notes and on our Facebook page. Until next time, this is Carrie.
And this is Tanya wishing you happy musicking.
And a Happy New Year.